I'm Brea Johnson, and I am very happy to have you here where we get to nerd out on all things sequencing. Now, because this is a lab as opposed to a course, we're looking at the higher level ways of making good sequencing. So I want you to really get a sense of what we're talking about in your body first and foremost. One of my most favorite ways of teaching is moving and learning, because it's really easy to think and easy just to sit back, passively watch this and be like, yes, I understand. But the real key to learning is doing. So we're going to do an overview conversation here about sequencing. Then you're going to do the classes. You're going to not overthink them. You can run through them as many times as you want. But first, just feel what the class feels like in your body. Turn off yoga teacher brain a bit and do the classes and just notice how you feel throughout it. And then we get to have our director's cut of the class, where we get to integrate everything we've talked about here, everything that you moved, and then we get to go and look back at those classes, and I can show you where and why and what and how of the decisions I made for why I did that sequence. The first thing when it comes to sequencing that we want to think about, and that I think a lot of teachers get confused or maybe never really quite realize this, is that sequencing is not about the poses. First and foremost, it's about the people who are doing the classes. That's the same with our cues. Cueing is not about the poses, it's about the people. Hopefully our sequencing and our cueing is responsive to the people in our classes. Gone are the times where we're teaching classes that are prescriptive, that are basically a script, right? Where we're regurgitating the cues and regurgitating the sequences that we might have learned in our teacher training, for example, where this is what you say for triangle pose. This is what you say for downward dog. And we're making it, again, about the poses rather about the people. But if that feels a little bit scary to you, if I say that and you're like, whoa, 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 how do I do this? Well, I'm glad you're doing this lab with me. So there's a lot of different ways that we might have been taught sequencing before. We've probably taught and have experienced the peak pose sequencing. There's also sort of just linear sequencing. And then there's the overplanned sequence that I think a lot of us have all been to, where however we're sequencing, we've thrown in everything that we can think of. And by the end of the class, we've only done 3/4 of it, because we've overplanned. There wasn't room for breathing. There wasn't room for plot twists where you try to do something and you realize, oh, nope, not everybody in this class can do the thing I planned. And it just feels rushed inside yourself. It probably feels rushed for your students. So what we're talking about today is going to help us with each of these styles of sequencing. So we're going to play with this and experiment ways that we can really put our people first, sequencing kind of second.